are Locked On Seminoles, your daily podcast on the Florida State Seminoles, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Seminoles. Happy Friday, everybody. It's your boy Drake here. You know what day it is. You know what time it is. It is time for part 2 of our sit-down with Mr. Trey Rowland of the Triple Option, folks. As we've done this podcast, we've gotten really close to a lot of, other FSU media, FSU beat, FSU personalities, and Trey is always a great time to have on here. We had him on here for the State of the FS Union. Also had him on here for after the UNC game last year. And folks, it's always a blast to just tap the unfiltered mind and the bold just takes that we have. It's always a good time. Now, before we get in there, I do have to say that today's episode sponsor is one of our personal favorites. This episode of Locked On Seminoles is brought to you by McDonald's, proudly serving communities since 1965. McDonald's has always been more than just a place to get tasty, affordable food. It's a place where family and friends from the community can come together. A big thank you to our friends over at McDonald's for always being there. And as always, ba-da-bop-bop-bop. Your boy's loving it. I'm loving it. Max is loving it. Dave's loving it. Holly's loving it. Stacey's loving it. And we know you're going to love the rest of part 2 of our interview today with Mr. Trey Rowland. So before, I cut myself off, I'll send you over to myself, Max, and Trey. Mi gente, sígueme.
Yeah, I think to me with Marv, I think the only way he saved his job is if he gets like a Demario Tolan, a Wesley Bissain from South Florida. Me personally, I think if he gets Jaron Willis to flip from Georgia Tech and convinces him to stop playing safety, that to me would be a huge win right there. But with Fuller, I think the moment that they scored the touchdown at Jacksonville State, I think he was just gone. And then I know that we've had better weeks, with the defense, but I said last year too, we beat UNC. We still gave up 500 yards. I still stand by that. And then with Syracuse, that offense is abysmally poor. You saw that against Clemson last weekend. Gary Schrader ran all up and down us last week. 2 weeks ago. And that to me was just something that really it stuck with me. And I understand a little bit, maybe like you don't scheme for that because you never did before, but so you need to be planned better for that. And it just feels like he never has a plan B, moving forward.
Yeah, the Syracuse thing was, I think I'd have to look back at the episode we did. I don't think I was, after rewatching it and seeing that this was a lost containment here, this was a lost containment here, and like some of that kid's big plays, and he's not a good quarterback, Garrett Schrader. I think after looking at it, I actually came away slightly less pissed off at Adam Fuller than I was on first watch. I mean, it still wasn't great, right?
Yeah.
The UNC game was a very well coached, solid defensive performance. However, it's 2 games. It's 2 games, and it's still a 2-4 team.
Yep.
It's a team that's won 5 games in 2 years. Like I'm not gonna cry if anybody loses their gig yet. You know what I'm saying? So I'm with you. For many, hell, I'd say even for most, what happened at the end of Jacksonville State was a fireable offense, and there's nothing that he can do this year to save himself, barring a miracle. Like I said, for me, the jury's still out. I don't know with those 2 guys, though, if they're plus enough recruiters to justify their position as like coaches, though. So if I had to bet, I wouldn't bet that both are on staff next year, even with 6 games left in the season.
Yeah, I think that's a super fair bet. I mean, I think it's one of those things where Fuller, like, you don't like to think that his job can come down to one play, but it may be that simple. Like, you lost to Jacksonville State. It wasn't North Dakota State. Like, it wasn't Idaho.
It wasn't actual real state.
Right.
At least North Dakota.
It's not even Jacksonville, Florida. It's a fake Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Like,
he lost to Fugazi State.
Hey, whoa, no, Moose played there, man. Come on, your boy Moose played there.
I understand that, but
I didn't know he was slandering his own friend for just
no.
A
I
bit
mean,
on a show.
He's been on the show.
He had him on the show last year too.
Yeah, I know.
It's kind of a ruthless
he would agree
here, huh, Drake?
Yeah, he's kind of
he'd agree with what I'm saying, and if he's listening to this, he's like, yeah, that's about right. Because like when you're in the Florida State driver's seat, that's a game you just cannot lose, and if you do, maybe that gets you your pink slip on one play. Like it's. And I'm saying that like half tongue in cheek. I mean, like, but it does suck to think about, hey, maybe one play sealed his fate. And but I don't know if I disagree with that, right? I don't know if
it's
I could blame Norvell.
They made the job of keeping that 22 class together and adding to it a lot harder than it needed to be by losing that game. That's self-imposed. That's where you blew your foot off with a shotgun.
Because
so
what
they
was
have
it
to
like
deal with
for
the
y'all
ramifications of that.
You up in Iowa and Drake down in South Florida? There was about a 2-week period where, people who know me, it's no secret I'm a Florida State fan. I imagine it's the same for you two.
Yes.
Where it was almost like a loved one had passed away, right? People were approaching me like for hey man, how's Florida State, like with legitimate sadness in their eyes, like empathetic compassion almost. And I can only imagine being a recruit and going into a high school the next day, especially at an IMG where everyone's committed to D1, right? Or, a big South Florida school where even if they're not committed to D1, they're huge Miami fans. Like that must have been just brutal to have to walk into in a high school. So
you saw it, dude. They just started scheduling official visits to other schools. That's exactly what happened. And now you're starting to see kind of the ramifications of that. It's a lagging effect in recruiting.
Right.
So,
I work in Coral
Gables
Max
that night and be like, I'm out of here. But
yeah, I work in Coral Gables, Max, and you know who my coworkers are. They're all Miami fans and Miami boosters. That was a very fun week at the office for myself.
Well, that's kind of evened itself out over the past like 5 or so weeks.
Oh, trust me. I know. I remind them that it's still like, that little meme, which is, 10, 20 days without a workplace incident. I'd be like, 365 days since the last Power 5 win for Miami. I have the same thing up in my office.
Keep the counter up.
Folks, there are certain constants in life, whether they be big or whether they be small. Some of the bigger ones, are a passion for our sports teams, passions for our family. And some of them could be a little bit smaller, such as, where you simply always go just to eat, just to get away, and just to refuel and recharge. And that's exactly what McDonald's has been providing since 1965. Almost 60 years of a consistently high quality, superb service. Folks, I've been going there since I probably was 5 years old. I specifically remember after Sail Pines Park down here in Coconut Creek first opened, we were on walking distance within the nearest McDonald's. After every Little League game up until 13 or 14, we would either have practice or have our game, go immediately to the McDonald's. And your boy, would trust me, was crushing the McDouble, a McChicken, and as you can tell, I got myself a McFlurry with M&Ms, and I would wait there to see if the X-ray machine actually was fixed. So, folks, heading over to your local McDonald's to refuel and reconnect. And did somebody say Locked On Seminoles watch party? I believe so, because when you're at McDonald's, your family, and trust us, I'm loving it. Max is loving it. We're all loving it here. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. We are loving it.
So Trey, about while we're on Miami, beating Miami or Florida, is it critical this year that we beat one of them, or is it a nice bonus that we did it a year early from how the team will be perceived if they do it? Like, I don't think I phrased that well, but you get what I'm saying. Like, are you sitting here right now going, we've got to beat one, or is it just like, hey, it'd be nice to beat one?
If you get to 4 wins and you don't beat Miami or Florida, your back half of your season was a failure. If you can get to, we were talking about this on the Triple Option show that I did with Ingram and Brendan of Knowles 247. 5 wins with one of them being against a Miami. We're earmarking Miami right now.
Right.
And it's almost looking like they should beat them with the injuries, the way that team is that team is ready for a death spiral. 5 wins and then a victory over like a Miami, I would consider that from where we started off on the season, that'll do for me. I don't think you can have a back half of the season that you need to keep the momentum rolling without beating a Miami or a Florida, just numerically, right? Unless you beat UMass, NC State, and Boston College. Let me ask you guys this. Too, but
I want both of y'all to answer this one. Assuming no blowouts, right? We're talking close losses. Better to beat only Miami or only Florida, or is it okay to lose to both and beat Clemson?
I need to beat Miami or Florida. I need to beat Miami or Florida. I can't go another year hearing the same old bullshit between Florida and Miami fans, like in my mentions, in my tweets, or any of that. And then with Clemson, I don't see Clemson as a rival. I just see them as a team that's like really good right now, and they got lucked into Dabo somehow having a way with with recruits, with Brent Venables, with Jeff Scott leaving, and also with Tony Elliott. But I can't lose to Manny Diaz another damn game. I can't lose to Dan Mullen again for that.
You're
And especially with kids
super
down here.
micro about that though. Like I mean from a perception of the program standpoint, because I think if you beat Clemson, it's like, oh, Florida State could challenge for the ACC very, very soon.
Not this Clemson though. This Clemson this year is terrible.
But it's the perception that Clemson is still
but
who you have to beat.
The perception with recruits though, like that matters to them more. Like they don't really care. Like the South Florida kids that we want, the kids from Orlando down, care infinitely more that we beat the kid schools in Miami and Florida, because those are the schools that we are competing for them mainly. We're not competing with kids. They're going to Clemson or Bama or Georgia right now. We're not at that program. We used to be there 6 or 7 years ago. To me, it's mainly for perception wise for kids coming through. We need to beat either Miami or Florida moving forward.
Yeah, but kids want rings, right? Like kids
do
want
they
rings. Though? Yeah, of course.
Some
kids
do.
Want rings.
Some do. Some don't.
Every kid wants a. That's what they want. They want. If you want to prove you can win the conference, you can win a national championship, you can get NIL deals. I don't get me wrong. I want to beat Miami just as badly as you do, but I wonder if I don't know. I wonder if beating Clemson this year is more of a statement of, hey, their hegemony is over and we can be competitive as soon as next year once Devin Leary leaves NC State and their flash in the pan's over. Like, you know what I mean?
If I had to pick like the UMass thing, that better be like a
yeah, we got to win that by 80.
Because I've got my own blood feud against Walt Bell. If I could pick out of the 4, like let's just say you had to pick 2, you could pick 2 wins of anybody over the 4. I would say Miami, and the reason I'm saying Miami is because their season sucks so bad that that's starting to become a horrific loss if you lose to them.
True.
Like if they were better, then my picks would be UF and Clemson. But with Miami, they're so down and so weird and in disarray that you have to beat them now, right? It's for the recruits you're going against and for how bad they are on the field. My second win that I would pick would actually be Clemson, just because I think that is a statement win still. They're having a down season, but it's a down season with a team full of 4- and 5-star athletes, one of the most heralded quarterback recruits in recent memory ever since the last one they got. He's playing like right now. However, it's the team that's had a vice death grip on your conference for
6 years.
Jesus
now,
Christ,
years?
what? Since 2014. So they've won the conference 7 years in a row? 6.
2015.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Did they beat us in 15? Was that this Freddie Stevenson
They did,
chop
yeah.
block?
2014.
That was a clipping, yeah.
Oh no, that was in Death Valley, and 16 was the
2014 is where we won with the Jameis grabbing by the old moose knuckle game. And then, but I do still think a win over Clemson means a lot because they've been in the college football playoff so long. It is one of those, they've distanced themselves in the recruiting tier. They're up there with the Ohio States, Bamas, and Georgias, right? It's Ohio State, Bama, Georgia, Clemson. So if I had to pick 2, like it's UMass and then pick 2 of the 4, I'm picking Miami and Clemson right now. It's hard for me to answer because I think the effect of beating Clemson is almost wiped out by the negative effect of losing to sad man Manny Diaz at this point. But I said, if I could pick 2 of 4, I'm picking Clemson and Miami.
We are thinking maybe we'll make some shakeups. Maybe we could, but we don't know. No. Is it all but certain that Miami makes a move this year? And if so, who do you guys think is first on their call sheet to replace Mr. Manny Diaz?
I don't know how serious they are about football.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't really know how serious that university is about football right now. They'd have to pay him. Yeah, they'd have to pay him a buyout. Their boosters have all but confirmed that they're not going to go after the caliber of coach that Miami wants. Cristobal to Miami is. The guy said if the money were, unless Cristobal took such a sweetheart deal, and he'd be such an idiot that if he took that deal, then he deserves every negative thing that happens to him after the fact. I don't know how serious Miami is. I mean, if Diaz spirals, I mean, what kind of ticket revenue are they losing? They have like 40,000 people at their games anyway, right? Like I just don't.
You mean 4D, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
You mean 40 people?
Yeah, right. It's always a bomb scare. So I don't really know. They may not care enough to fire Manny, right? They may just write it out until they don't have to pay a buyout. or they may not. I mean, I don't know. And the next hire they make, God help them. God help them if they do the Ed Reed thing or something. I don't know who they call because
what would make the most sense for them actually if they hire Brett Lashley. They just promote him as an interim after that.
Call up Ed Orgeron. He's sitting in Baton Rouge. Ain't got nothing to do with him, so he can order.
Ed Orgeron would much rather be eating po' boys and hitting on swamp women than dealing with like that uncaring, unserious University of Miami football program. If Ed puts himself on the level of right now, then the guy's got self-esteem issues. He's better than the University of Miami, I think, for their head coaching gig. So I don't know who the hell they call because I don't know what kind of money they want to operate with.
Yeah.
I mean, with the money thing, though, I mean, with Cristobal, I actually do think he would take a sweetheart deal, mainly because it's like a known fact that his family is all like back in South Florida. He's a Christopher Columbus kid. His wife badly wants to go down there. The only thing I see him stopping is Nike. Bill Knight still is the big booster over at Oregon, and literally he made a point that we couldn't get him or Jim Levitt when we hired Tiger away. He's like, okay, let me just keep this guy for an X amount of dollars. To me, Max, I think the head coach probably is going to be someone like a Rhett Lashley, someone cheaper. Maybe go after a Billy Napier over in Louisiana if he doesn't get the LSU job. Sure. Or maybe they could come out of left field. We all know Lane Kiffin doesn't want to be in Ole Miss anymore. We know that for a fact. It might not be Miami, and that would suck. But I'm just telling you, I'm just giving you like what candidates like seem as actual options for them.
I mean, those names, like there is some connection there. But think of the last guys that they hired.
Yeah.
They hired their former DC, the head coach of Temple, for like 20 days. Their hire before that was what? Mark Richt, a guy who was at Georgia but was out of coaching. It was kind of his star was on the way down. Still a good hire for them. Better than the Diaz hire. Their hire before that was what? The head coach of Temple at Al Golden.
Yep.
Man, they went to Temple twice.
I think before that, Randy Shannon, and he was their defensive coordinator, right?
Yeah.
He was their DC.
They don't make splash hires. Historically, they just don't, and they haven't for a long time.
And before that, it was Coker. Yeah, no, those names are fun. To me, it's someone like, I'm not going to say it would be Kendall Briles, but they would look for someone young who just really is desperate to get HC
high upside
on his resume.
Sure.
Where it's like he'll take $3 million a year because he just wants that first head coaching gig. And it's kind of funny. I love having this conversation because like Miami's kind of become a stepping stone now, right? Whereas like, I don't think we're at that point yet, which is good.
It's tough, man, because it's historically one of the best programs ever. Like it really isn't. They say 5 rings, but I mean they have 5 championships. That's impressive. The amount of NFL talent they put out was impressive. It's also impressive that for 2 decades they've sucked in one of the most talent-rich areas of the country, with a place that has a lot of pressure on hometown kids to stay home. And it's because they have an unserious administration. Now, all this stuff works in Florida State's favor. You just have to capitalize on the back end of the season. And I think they have a good opportunity to be honest with you.
What's up, guys? Drake here. I feel like I haven't discussed, our friends over at BetOnline.ag in a hot minute, so let me just give them a little plug-in really, really quickly. BetOnline.ag is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your latest sports action, whether it be basketball, football, NHL tip-off, and, MLB playoffs. I know the Braves just beat the Dodgers. Shout out to Heath, the biggest Braves fan I know, with the big win, hopefully for your sake, then close them out. I personally am rooting against you, and I will be betting against them the rest of the way. But you can join me in betting those odds at BetOnline.ag by using promo code LOCKEDON to get 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That promo code is LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON. BetOnline, where the game starts, folks. Now, folks, when you're done at BetOnline.ag, you might find yourself a little bit hungry. Now, that might be exclusive just to me when it comes to making my bets. I get hungry, but also I get hungry maybe about every 45 minutes to an hour. But one thing that's been helping my cravings is going over to Built.com and ordering myself some delicious Built bars. Built bars have 19 delicious flavors, whether it be coconut, raspberry. Dave is on the salted caramel train. Max is on the peanut butter brownie train, which I will say tastes like a heartier Snickers bar. But if you're like me, want to hang out with the fruit bar, the fruit chocolate kind of kick with Cherry Barcia, trust me, the gang is always there to support you. Just head on over to Built.com. Use promo code LOCKED15. That's LOCKED15 for 15% off your order. Once again, that promo code is LOCKED15, LOCKED15 at Built.com. And folks, They also got birthday cake bites. They got 19 delicious flavors. Built Bar is the best protein bar ever. And trust me, folks, you're going to want to try this out.
So how do you see the team capitalizing on that? Like, what do you see Norvell and the boys actually needing to do in order to jump on Miami being down in Florida, basically not living up to their expectations?
You got to win. I mean, that's as simple as that. 5 wins. You got to beat them this year. And I think that gives you enough momentum to keep that recruiting class together, keep the big names in, add some guys. There's been some interesting offers coming out in the past couple of days, which is good. That's one thing I do like about the staff. They always have a plan A, B, C, D, and E on recruiting. They're never caught with just their dick in their hands. It's never so just refreshing. Like Willie Taggart was like, I don't know, he was cooking gumbo with Cardell Thomas's mom or something, and then it was like, oh yeah, I'm not going to play for you. You guys are terrible. And he's like, I don't know what to do now. Like, oh, that sucks. I thought we were going to get him. Norvell is always flexible in recruiting, and I think that's a testament to his organization, right? He knows these kids out. He's a very good talent evaluator. I feel watches a lot of film, well-studied guy. So that's another reason why I think as long as they win, they have to win. They got to do it on the field. But if they do, they're well positioned. They're well positioned to do the things they need to do in recruiting to make it worthwhile.
I like that you brought that up about his recruiting. I'll make a point and then a question for Mr. Rowland as we wrap up here. It is great to see how he goes through that, right? Every time I see Will Putnam's name on the back of his jersey at Clemson, you're just like, dude, everyone tried to tell you it wasn't going to happen, Yeah. And what I like about their drop-down method is they don't go 4-star to 4-star with grade problems and then 4-star with off-the-field issues, right? They legitimately will be like, okay, we didn't get this 4-star. We'll go down to a 3-star because we want to keep that same profile of kid that we're bringing into the locker room. And it's good to see that they've, done their homework on their B and C options. Now, Trey, you've got 2 young children now. I imagine they wake you up at the ass crack of dawn. And it's not fun to be hungover in the Rowland household these days. However, Florida State beats Miami. We stop a 4-year skid. Let's assume it's a night game or it's like a 4 p.m. kick. So, the kids are pretty much in bed when the game ends. What does Trey Rowland do in celebration? I know you've probably had a couple dad beers, thick, meaty craft beers while watching the game.
Yeah, we're fall beer season. We're very malty. We're in malt season right now.
You Germanic bastards.
I think I take whatever my normal number is for that night, and I probably double it, and I deal with the consequences in the morning, and I try to just pair the craft beer, blackout, pass out to right around my normal bedtime, but they're going down smooth. I might even mix in a Busch Light or something like that. Just
oh, you dirty girl.
Yeah, just something like, oh, this reminds me of college. And I'm going to be happy, man, because you kind of get when you cover the team, you guys know, right?
Yeah.
You talk about it so much that you almost look at it as a different perspective. You're a more learned observer of the game, but the fan passion kind of gets dulled a little bit because you have to give objective analysis. You can't be just a frothing fanboy dumbass or people don't want to listen to you. And you guys aren't. Very professional program here at the Locked On Seminoles podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
But, dude, I'll fan out hard. If they do what they need to do on the field. I still love this team. And I just want to see them good again, man. I'm tired of Iowa people looking at me with pity when we talk about football. I liked it when I could look at them with disdain. I liked when they hated me. Now they pity me. I want to get back to them hating me for having this superior football team again. That's what I want. I want to.
If you want to talk about disdain, you can talk about their performance against Purdue this past weekend because they were finally exposed for having a piss poor offense. But hey, that's just me.
I'm not. Yeah, we're not there. We're not there yet where I can needle. I can't needle.
Yeah. No, it's true though, man. The people that'll be like, man, y'all have had a tough few years. And then you look at what they're wearing and you're like, how is someone with that logo on their chest telling me it's been a tough couple of years?
But
usually,
they're right. That's what sucks.
Exactly.
Yep.
I like being Iceland before Gunnar Stahl blows the shootout against Julie the Cat Gaffney. Everyone hates you because you're so damn good. But then now it's just, we're those douchebags you hated in 2013. Oh, and now we suck. So it's really not as fun and we're having to pay for all those memories we created in the worst possible way. So,
but maybe not for long. Let's leave the people optimistic.
dude, there's light at the, but
whole,
there is, right?
Whole half of the season left. That it's looking a lot more accessible than it did when we looked at it preseason.
Yep.
Let's go, boys.
Last thing to leave the people leave the people with some good feelings, I guess, then is, do you guys feel like it's starting to come together? Like, do you feel like the vision Norvell sold us at the very beginning of 2020, end of 2019 when he was hired, like, are you starting to see the outline of that path and that we could get there? Or does it still feel like we're not sure if it's coming together yet?
I see glimpses, and I see a team with an identity, and I see a team that is starting to take on the persona of their head coach, which is very positive. Jordan Travis said as much. Florida State was actually down 10-0 in that North Carolina game. Yep. He was asked, I think it was post-game, how'd you stay so calm? He was, oh, Coach Norvell. He rubbed off on us. That's extremely positive. That's a guy that goes to work. I'm talking about the coach now, pronouns, pal. He goes to work. He is meticulous. He's detail-oriented. The energy is always up top. And I think you've seen that reflected in Florida State's play, particularly the past 2 or 3 weeks. This is a team that has come back from adversity multiple times against Notre Dame, against Louisville, holding on for the win against Syracuse, coming down from 10-0 in North Carolina to ultimately pimp slap them around as they should. This is a team that plays differently than Florida State teams of the past. The results are not there yet. They need to be good enough to get the gains that he needs on the recruiting trail. But yes, to your point, I see glimpses of where this team could be. I do think there has been some proof in the concept this year. It's got to be enough.
I think I need to see consistent glimpses of it, mainly because, Max, you and I were fooled immensely by that Virginia game a few years ago with Will Taggart. We sat down inebriated after being in Charlottesville, and we're like, you know what? I think he finally has it. I think he's finally got it. And then we get stomped out for the rest of the year. So
Jim Leavitt was going to be the answer. That was it. Yeah. That's all we needed. Jim Leavitt was an analyst, and now we're going to win a national championship within 2 years.
Yeah, to me, that game was just – so I need to see not even perfection. I just need to see consistently good, sound football from defense, from offense. I also need to see better personnel decisions and better coaching decisions when it comes to certain things. And to me, if he does just that, I'll be fine. I'll be happy. I know Trey's got the 5-win mark. I'm kind of right there with him. I need to see one of the rivals being down, either Miami or whether it be Florida. I think more likely Miami because Miami is not particularly good. I need to see you steal a win either from a Clemson or a BC because I think BC is a very, very tough game. We talked about this earlier in the week. NC State, to me, is probably the best team left on our schedule.
Yeah,
so,
I agree with that.
So, to me, I just need to see just give me consistently good football so I don't have to be bitching and moaning about how my team sucks Monday through Friday once a week or also on YouTube channel, by the way, folks. So that's basically what we're saying.
I agree that I want consistency, but I also have to say that's what makes college football great is the inconsistency, right? Like, think about it. A mere 3 weeks ago, we were just like, well, this team's not going to win a game. We're going to go 1-10 or 0-11. It's going to be the most horrific season ever. And look at our tone now. 2 wins later, right? Look at our tone after Virginia, to your point. And then look at our tone, 3 weeks later after Wake Forest? That's what makes this fun. So, Trey, I agree, man. And it's funny, you do lose some of that edge covering the team, but it never fully goes away because I still love that, we could be having a totally different conversation for better or for absolutely worse in 2 weeks. And I don't know. That's what makes it fun, and that's what keeps us coming back to the trough.
That's right. That's what keeps the fans coming back to the old Locked On Seminoles podcast.
And the triple option, ladies and gentlemen. Check them both out. You have time. We know you do. You're not that busy.
That's right. Come on.
Speaking of that, Trey, before we let you go, we'd be remiss if we didn't allow you to, plug yourself, plug where can the people find you at?
X's and Knowles. That's a hell of a pun, right, guys? YouTube page. That is the home of the triple option, which is the YouTube video show that I am a part of with Kevin Little and Coach Adam Brown. We are the only show, to my knowledge, that goes into the official Florida State game film with the depth, the knowledge, the consistency, the sometimes humorous banter that is necessary to keep you, the Florida State fan, informed, and also entertained. So check us out there. Go to the YouTube page, subscribe, put the notifications on. We are hosted by Tomahawk Nation, the premier Florida State info site, analysis, everything like that, completely free. And we appreciate their support. So check that out, man. I always like talking to you guys. You guys have a very good product, slick production values, good commentary, good analysis, and I'm honored to be a part of it again, my friends.
Oh, we love having you on, man. Trust me. We was like, I think 3 years ago, I found your podcast on for when I was interning over at the UFC. I was like, let me listen to this guy, once a week for to get me through my work day. And now that having you on a podcast with one of my best friends and my other best friend, it's really honestly it's great. So for Trey, Max, Drake, we'll see you next time on Locked On Seminoles, baby.